Hi there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Capri Lilly, and today I'll be showing you how I take care of my plants and how to take care of an indoor plant garden. Ever since I posted a short clip of my plant babies in my latest Trader Joe's video, a lot of people have been messaging me about how do you take care of those plants? Oh my goodness, your plants are so beautiful. How do you take care of so many? Or do you have any secrets or tips to make it easier to take care of plants? So today I'll be sharing with you all my secrets, and these you can apply to any plants that you have, and how I keep my plants alive and luscious and thriving. Okay, so tip number one. This is something that many people may think is obvious and may choose to ignore, but to be honest with you, this is very crucial for the health of your plant. Tip number one is to make sure to do research before you bring a plant home. So if there's a particular plant that you like, maybe you like the look of it, or maybe you like the way you've seen it in other people's homes or pictures, you should do research to see what type of environment that plant needs to thrive. Or if you'd like to, you can say, hey, I want a plant for my bathroom. Therefore, you need a plant that requires very low light and likes moist atmospheres. Or you could take a look into your space and see what kind of lighting does it get. Does it get lots of light? Does it get minimal light? And then according to those parameters, you can determine what kind of plant is best for your home. And the research you do brings me to my second tip. Know the name of your plants. When I first started getting into gardening and was taking care of my indoor garden, my dad came over and he asked me, what is the name of your plants? And I looked at him and I said, honestly, I don't know. And he said to me, how can you really care about them? Or how can you take care of something that you don't even know the name of? And I thought about it. And I thought to myself, I adore these plants. I love these plants. Why don't I know the name of my plants? And from then on, I made sure to learn the name of every single one of my plants. And honestly, learning the name of each of the plants made it easier to remember what each plant likes and what they don't like and how to properly take care of it. So for tip number three, we're going to get into proper care for the plants. And that starts with watering. So watering is essential for your plants. And I know a lot of people say that my plant died because I forgot to water them. And I know sometimes it's hard to remember when to water your plant, but if you do step one, that helps with learning when to water your plant. So behind me I have a lot of succulents, and succulents do not need a lot of water. So those are good for busy people who want plants and want life in their home, but don't necessarily have a lot of time to dedicate to taking care of their plants. Succulents are very self-sufficient, and honestly they're best if you just forget about them. So these are an example of plants that don't need much watering. But regardless of how much water the plant needs, it's really important to have your plant in a planter that allows the water to drain from the soil. So something like this. It has holes in the bottom, and when we water the plant, the extra water comes out. So this is tip number three. Make sure you water your plant according to its watering needs, and make sure you have your plant in a planter that has holes in the bottom to allow the water to drain through the soil. Now, I didn't know that right away, and when I first bought my plants, I bought all these beautiful, elaborate vases to decorate my home with and put my plants inside. And a few of them did not have any drainage holes, and I found it to be a huge problem initially when I first started taking care of my plants. Now, here is a huge tip and an incredible secret if you have plants that are in planters that do not have a drainage hole. You should water the plants a half a cup of water to every 1 cup of soil. And using the amount of water proportionate to the soil is very necessary because you do not want to overwater your plant. A lot of people think that they can easily take care of their plant by just watering it every day and watering it as often as possible. But that can also kill a plant too. You don't want to overwater your plants because what happens is you drown them and they die. I know it's really crazy and it sounds bizarre, but if you overwater your plants, it'll cause the roots to rot, and it's the quickest way to kill your plant. So for those planters who don't have holes in them, you definitely want to make sure to do a half a cup of water to 1 cup of soil. And I'll be showing you an example of that when I show you how I water my plants. So tip number 4, and something I find is most helpful to know, is you want to water your plants in the morning. Watering your plants in the morning allows it a sufficient amount of time during the day while it's sun outside for the plant to absorb the water and get rid of all the excess water. And tip number 5, this is just my tip, my secret, and honestly why I believe that my plants are thriving and doing so well, is that I pay very close attention to my plants. I completely love and adore my plants. They bring so much life into my home. They also help purify the air. They help bring good energy into my home, and I absolutely love them, and I'm so grateful to have them here and blessing my home with their beauty. So for tip number 5, I would say love on your plants, care for your plants, pay attention to your plants. I always take notice of my plants, and I always kind of keep an eye on them to see how they're doing. I'll show you a couple signs to look for to know when it is time to water your plants. I actually have all of my plants on a watering schedule, and I feel that when you have a lot of plants, it's best to water them on a particular schedule. I would say this is definitely secret number 2, a big hint that helps me take care of my plants, because I have about 22 plants in my home, and it's quite a lot. And each of them has different watering requirements. So I make sure to water them all on a particular day, and I also make sure that I know when's the last time I watered each of them. So now I'm going to show you just how I water my plants, and I'll also show you some signs to look for to know when you should water your plants. So my last tip before I show you how I water my plants is to never use tap water on your plants. Use distilled or purified water only. If you do happen to use tap water, make sure you leave it out overnight for at least 24 hours to allow all the chemicals to evaporate from the water. The first sign that a plant needs watering are drooping leaves. You see here that the leaves are pretty limp and hanging low. And you also want to put your finger an inch within the soil and check for moisture or see how dry the soil is. I always use a measuring cup so I know exactly how much water goes into each plant. And here you'll see I water the calathea. I put about 1 cup of water in this calathea. And this is what you want to see. You want to see the water draining from the bottom. I like to water some of my plants from the bottom, so from the roots. So you see here that the roots are pretty packed onto the soil, and I simply put it into this water bath, and the plant absorbs all the water that it needs. And now I'm just watering each of my plants with the appropriate amount of water. Remember, 1/2 cup of water to every 1 cup of soil. So here's my Dracaena marginata, and it's not in a planter that has a hole at the bottom. So again, the roots and soil are tightly packed so I can easily lift it up from the planter. And here, I like to lift it up and pour water in the bottom so that the roots soak up the water. And again, I only use 1/2 cup of water for the amount of soil. And you see, my plants are very responsive. Plants always have a way of showing you and telling you exactly what they need. So make sure you're always paying attention. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you learned just a little bit more about how to take care of your plants. I post videos every Wednesday and Friday, so don't forget to hit subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.